Hey you guys, time for round 3 of my reversed climbing the rating ladder, sliding the rating ladder series. It's me, Blunder Bot 1000, and I'm playing these 15 plus 10 games. So what's interesting about these 15 plus 10s is that it's very different to playing a game with a fixed and limited time on it, right? So I know exactly what I'm doing here because I'm in the Vienna. I'm playing the Vienna Gambit now. I think the mistake that I've made, certainly in my second game, was that I rushed towards the end because I played it as though, okay, so this is a common way to decline the Vienna Gambit, and we take the pawn there, and if knight takes, we then have d4, which is really good. Okay, so yeah, what I did wrong in my previous game is I didn't secure a winning position, and I rushed towards the end because I was using the clock as though I was playing without an increment. Okay, so my knight's come out here to protect this square to prevent the queen from coming out, and now we have this very, very nice lead in development. Now, I need to concentrate on being very careful from this point. I'm going to be a checklist nerd. Okay, this pawn is defended twice. Now, I have not had a really good night's sleep, it has to be said. Okay, so ideas. I mean, developing, always good, right? So here's the situation. My pawn is attacked. It's actually attacked twice. It's defended twice, right? But if my pawn takes, we could end up trading queens. Don't really want to do that, okay? If I develop my bishop, pawn takes, I can recapture with my bishop. Now, I don't want to recapture with my knight. I've made that mistake. I'm going to develop my bishop here. So if pawn takes, takes. And then if knight takes, I could take with the pawn, because then if the queen captures, because my bishop's gone, I can recapture with the rook, and I've got a nice centralized rook, right? Happy days. So let's see what my opponent does. My opponent is rated 1331 from the Ukraine, and I'm currently rated 1345. So 250 points lower than, roughly, yeah, than I was just a couple of weeks ago. Okay, and relax. So my opponent's played the bishop in front here. Right, that doesn't really prevent this move. I mean, this might still be his idea, put the bishop there, but then I've always got g3. So, that's attacked, defended twice. That's attacked, defended 3 times. I think queen e2 may be a move here, but I'd also just like to complete development. Yeah, what's wrong with that? Think about knight here. I'm not concerned about the bishop coming in because I can just push g3, and my bishop is then a tall pawn. So I'd like to develop the queen, but if my queen, for example, goes here, I don't know, what do you think? Bishop here or here? Then I've got the option of castling and getting my rook onto this semi-open file. So I think I do want to develop my bishop. The question is where to? This is an option. We target that corner. Or if I go here, we're targeting the f-pawn. If I do this and he pushes the pawn, I can just take. Also, the king is likely to castle here. So I'm thinking this. Now if I do bishop here and he plays his knight out, he's wasted a move, really. But I have seen that move. This blocks the queen's defense of that pawn, but it's still defended by the knight. Or even bishop e2. Feels a bit quiet. What else have we got? Takes. If pawn takes, it gets an isolated pawn. Takes. Bishop takes. Bishop takes, it got queen takes. Don't see any benefit in that. Knight in here attacking the bishop. Not really. His queen's a bit constrained. There's no point pushing the pawn. So what I'm doing now is I'm just trying to entertain more candidate moves, which is always a good thing. Okay, so we need to make a move. If here and knight to there, I could just drop back. Yeah, I think that's all right. There, I drop back. Then if he takes, I recapture with the A pawn, open up a line for my rook, which may come in useful later on. That was nearly a 3-minute move. Okay. Right, so this gives him 2 attackers against 1 defender on this pawn. But I can simply take, and if queen takes, rook takes. If I take with the bishop, I'm attacking this. So if I take with the bishop, we're going to have knight takes, and I'm feeling good. If I take with the knight, I'm attacking his knight, threatening to double his pawns as well. I'm going to take the bishop. Okay, and now knight takes, yeah? Knight takes or pawn takes. If pawn takes, I've got an isolated pawn, so I'm going to take the knight. This is defended. And now look, I've got 3 nice pieces out ready, and I'm prepared to castle. Like 3 pieces in the board to black's 1. And arguably that bishop isn't really even in the board. It's in a terrible position. Okay, now my first thought is instantly castles. Get my rook on f1, targeting that. The knight is defending f7. I'm already attacking it twice actually. But so if I castle, he can castle, right? Then he's got 3 defenders. He's got rook, knight, and king defending f7. Now, I've also got queen here as well. That's a thought. So if he's, let's think. So one option is to sack the knight. Knight takes, I don't know. Let's castle. I think he's going to castle. But I have this nice development lead. I could put my queen here, adding a 4th attacker to that square. Right, it's defended 3 times. So he'd have to, I think he'd have to move his queen there. Or has he also got this? Is that a move? If bishop takes, pawn takes, he ends up with the isolated pawn. How can I bring more pressure on this position? Queen here is interesting because you can't push the pawn because the knight falls. Queen in, and then I might even think about lifting a rook round. Right, if I put my queen there, can he do anything horrid? Ah. Queen there drops his pawn. We don't really want to do that. Queen here. Knight here. If I move this knight, I can play c3 and defend the pawn. This knight's doing nothing right now. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to develop the knight. He can't put his bishop here. Well, he can, but I'll just take it, I think. That also flushes this knight out. It's a shame I haven't got a dark squared bishop to eliminate that knight. I feel like I'm using my time fairly well. Oh! Well, that's unusual. Maybe he wants to stop my knight coming here. But it's under attack once. Should I just attack it another time? Oh no, it's a second attacker on there. Okay, so c3 now, I think, yeah. Just defend this pawn. I might drop my bishop down to here now and go back for the corner. It's now defended twice, attacked twice. But if, for example, takes, rook takes, I take rook, king takes, the knight is pinned. That's an idea. Takes, if rook takes, bishop takes, king takes. Do I just win the knight? And that effectively puts me up an exchange and a pawn. Oh! Well, that was a good move. I missed that entirely. Right then. Right, you bugger. Okay. Important thing not to panic. Bishop takes is a thought, right? Bishop takes, check. Rook takes. No. I completely missed the point of this knight move, didn't I? Yeah, I just missed the fork. Obvious fork. Okay. I think I have to come here. But then at least I get to replace my rook. Not a mistake I would normally make. Okay, now I have 3 attackers on there, and it's defended only twice. So what's he going to do? Might also drop my bishop behind my queen and attack there. So I'm down an exchange right now. Because I'm quite stupid at the moment. If I move my bishop back, it's pretty much telegraphing this move, right? But he's going to have to mess up his pawns somehow. I might have ideas of dropping my knight in here. I need to get my knights close in. So knight, this knight's g3 might make sense. I'm still ahead in development. I mean, I've completed development. He's still got a bishop on the back rank. The queen not really involved. But his current issue is this. I can take with a knight. He can't recapture with a rook because I capture with check. And he's just down. He's given back the exchange and a pawn. So he's got to do something about this threat. Okay, that's something. If he takes, I recapture. I've still got 3 attackers on there. If I take, he takes, isolated pawn, rooks are facing off. I don't really want to be simplifying when I'm down in material. But what else can I do with my bishop? If I come here, I think he's just going to trade. If I trade though, he does have this isolated pawn in the middle. And, okay. If rook takes, he's probably going to take the queen. Don't really want that. If I put my rook here, he takes, I improve my knight. Or I just put my knight here and attack the pawn with a threat of a fork of my own. I'd love to get a knight to defend that, but it's not likely. He's not going to trade his rook. If I take that, he can actually take the rook and then escape the queen. And I win a pawn. Which isn't the end of the world. Then we end up in a kind of getting towards the ending when he's got 1 bishop and I have a knight. But it's a well-placed knight, actually. Maybe what I need to be doing is going for this pawn here. Something like queen over here, knight there. Go for the g7 pawn. Silly, silly falling for that fork though. If I go for this, he's always got bishop there to defend. I put knight here, threaten the bishop. If I take it, rook takes. My knight might threaten to go into there at d7 at some point as well. But my opponent has definitely got the upper hand at this point. So as things stand, the slide continues. If I lose this, I'm going down to 1337, which we don't want. So this was the move here. This is what I missed, right? So he plays this, and then my next move I took 21 seconds. Now I did not come up with a reasonable answer for why did my opponent make that move. I mean, I found one kind of hypothesis, which was to prevent my knight from going there, and then I stopped thinking. Didn't think, what else can the knight do? So he's taking his time. His bishop doesn't have much future down here. But he can't move it right now because this is his pressing issue. So what's he going to do? He could try and defend with a rook. He could try and defend with a queen. That's all he's really got, isn't it? Bishop here double attacks the knight. No, it doesn't. Well, I just move the knight and take. So defending his pawn, he's only got two options: rook there or queen there. Okay, he's gone for the queen option. Right. Now I can't do that. It puts two attackers on the knight. G3 might be a useful move anyway. Also Queen G3 is the thought. That puts a second defender on the knight. Queen G3, and I'm threatening this. He's not threatening the knight. He's not threatening this knight. Okay, Queen G3 looks like a generally good all-purpose move. It lines it up with the king, pins this pawn. Is that even an idea? Maybe not. So if I put my knight here, he's going to be forced to push his pawn. Or is he just going to play that? Then I can take out the bishop. I don't think this bishop is that strong a piece, really. If I get my pawns on dark squares, his queen's also right now stuck defending a pawn, which isn't really the best use of a queen. If I come back here, I hit the queen. She can't go there. She'd have to retreat to there. The knight here, queen goes back. Nothing's really achieved. But rook e1, then go back. That's a thought. Now I have this, that hits the rook and threatens mate. but he can trade rooks, okay? So I'm going to play rook e1 with the idea of knight here, the mate threat, and he can't go to here because knight takes. And then we trade queens, but we've rebalanced the material, I think, that way, yeah? Knight there, rook retreats, or do I even just move my queen? Ooh, hello. Okay. Right then, Hunty, let's go. Rook here threatens mate. If he goes there, he simply loses a rook. Doing it. 20 seconds of thought there. Right, now he could just push the pawn, but then that loses the rook. If he drops the rook back, he loses the rook. Then we may trade queens, but knight can recapture as well, which is quite nice. He's up the exchange right now, and he's got a slightly weaker pawn structure. So actually, at this point, trading off the queens would not be a bad thing. Leaving us basically with a bishop versus knight endgame, which is not the end of the world. So that's the immediate threat. The king can't move. He's got to defend. If he pushes, he just loses a rook. If he defends, he loses a rook. So I think he's going to lose a rook, whatever happens. I don't think he's got any other option. Can't take the knight. He can give check there, which just loses the rook again. And he's still got mating threat. It's even worse mating threat, because he's still got to defend the pawn with his other rook. Lose that. King takes, queen takes there, and he's in the world of pain. And he's now actually burning up his clock as well. But this is what we know about the increment. The whole point is to get a decisive advantage in the game. Right? It's very hard. Well, it's a lot harder to flag somebody when there's an increment. 10-second increment. Doesn't matter if you go down to 5 seconds if you've got a winning advantage in the endgame. You know, you start shuffling pawns, suddenly you've got yourself several minutes on the clock. Okay, so he's pushed. The pawn can't actually take my knight. Now this comes with check, and he has to recapture. I think I have to take the rook. Is he going to recapture with the bishop? I have to take the rook. Okay. So recapture with the rookie. Okay. Knight's defended 3 times. So we're not worried about that. I feel like I want to get my queen out of line. I want to be able to move my knight without this messing up my pawns. The knight's adequately defended anyway. These 2 pawns are undefended. I mean, I haven't got queen in there, that loses. I'm just thinking about queen g4. Attacks that pawn, it's well defended. Rook up here to defend the queen. Oh, h4, h5. That's a thought. h4, h5. This pawn's pinned. Can't advance because queen just takes. I think that's good enough. Down to 6 minutes. So I took 1:15 over that move. But I think it's probably the most pressuring. That is just simply attacking a pawn, right? Are we worried? Push. Queen takes pawn. Queen starts gobbling pawns up. There's no reason to drop the pawn. Can't see any other threat from that queen. So b3 now just solidifies things. Queen can't go there. Yeah, she could go over there, but then push again. So I think in some ways I'm quite good at. Ooh, interesting. Push. Pawn can't take. If I take, rook takes. Okay, I'm thinking. Right, let's take stock. 5 minutes on the clock, heaps of time. I've got 4 and a 2. My opponent has 3 pawn islands. A 3, a 1 and a 2. Rook takes comes with tempo on the queen. Also threatening to mess things up there. Queen takes very likely forces a trade. And I think I'm in a decent position. Now, which is best, rook takes or queen takes? Queen takes, I'm attacking the queen, I'm attacking the rook, I'm attacking an undefended pawn. So I think if queen takes, queen's going to take, rook takes there. I think I should be in a good position. The question is rook takes any better? No. And I'm simply going to pre-move the recapture. No, I'm not. Pre-moves are silly. Okay, rook takes. His rook can't come here or here because my king. So I'm wanting to push up. I want to get my king like here and cover the open file. All right, he's taken there. I can recapture. That's okay. Rook can't come in here. That's fine. Now he's got 2 solos and a 3. I've got 1 solo and a 4. So I have to keep these 2 pawns out. This is the danger, right? So this is now the point in the game over to say, okay, what's critical? King's defending that, rook's defending that. Can I attack both? I just feel like I want to shuffle Gary up and shuffle the king up behind Gary. Rook here prevents that pawn from moving forward and probably does a decent job at preventing that one as well. Okay, and now we are in an ending. Crikey. So I'm quite proud that I managed to regain the exchange. I've also got this as well with check, and then Gary can come up behind the rook. I don't really want his king to centralise. There's not a lot I can do about it right now. Rook here, it's on a defended square, prevents his pawn's advance. And I think the king and Gary together can probably handle Black Harry. Right, who's better at the endgame? This is a critical square. Have to defend that. Have to stop his rook getting on the 7th rank. Okay, he's defending his pawns. That's now undefended. If I play my rook here, he's got to revert his rook. He's got to go back here or here. And then I think my plan is simply g3, king g2. And carry on like that. Okay, that's kind of passive. Okay, if he comes forward, I'll just swap off. That's not a problem. In fact, if he comes forward, I'll just grab it with a rook. So, not a lot of point in that. I can keep shuffling up with Gary. If this pawn pushes, I've got d5 because this pawn's actually pinned right now. Okay, come on Gary, off you go. Here, what's the king going to do? King's got to move back. I'll move my king up. No rush. Don't worry about this. That's not a problem. That's actually check because it's defended by the rook. Check. King can't go there. Can't stay there. Is that a good move? King has to go back. I don't see why not. King comes up. Now, I can't allow him to take, because I can't... Oh, I can recapture the rook, actually, with check. But if he goes here, that might be nasty. So I take, king takes. Rook here, maybe. But then he's going to put his rook here. I want to get my king over here now, that's important. If I go there, yeah. So I have to get my king centered and then try and quarantine his king elsewhere. So maybe get my rook here where it defends the back of my pawn chain and keeps his king out. Maybe. Okay, so it's trying to get his king back in. I've check, he goes there. Check, he goes there, I can't... My king would be quite happy on that square as well. Check, here. Drop my rook back, or do I just drop my rook back now? Drop my rook back, he can't push the pawn. So I've got three attackers on it. If I drop my rook back and he goes king here, I just slide my king over. I think here. If he pushes pawn takes, no, because he's got the king and rook defending. Okay. See, his king can't go there, and it's a long way round to go around the back. Yeah. So I've got king back to here. I've got to move. If I check him, if I check him, he's got to. Oh yeah. So he's got to put king there, otherwise check, and he has to go onto the G file, and I can actually shut him out potentially. And then I get king e5. Again, shutting off this pawn. Interesting ending. This one game a day thing, it's quite intense. If his king retreats, I've even got... Oh, hello. Oh, so he's given his king that square. That's interesting. Okay. So I can't advance yet. If I do there, he's going to go king here. Then I can go king there, but he can check me, force me back. I have to do something with my king. And I'm thinking this, and how does he defend that pawn? Oh, he takes there, that's how he does it. Oh, that's nasty. Okay, pushes I take. Damn. Good move. Now he takes this, yes. Right, I attack the rook, I think. Have to. He can't get there because pawn takes. If he goes there... Rook. Oh no, if he takes that pawn it comes a check. Hang on. Do I have to go here? If I go here, he goes there. I go here, I don't know. If I throw in a check, he retreats there. Oh, man. He's going to go here. Then I come back. See, repeating moves is not necessarily a bad thing if it's the right thing to do. You know, force a draw if you can sometimes. I'm down to 3 minutes 20. Okay, just retreat. And there. I'll take a draw, I don't mind. Yep. There we go. Nothing lost, nothing gained. That was interesting. Quick review. Let's do it. Because I got a really good lead, didn't I, at the start of that? And then I let myself down with one silly blunder. There we go. 74 accuracy from me. 2 missed wins. Holy smokes. Okay, this is... Oh, this is a blunder. Leads to losing material. Is it saying I could have saved the rook? How? Best move was... Hang on, no. Sorry. There, queen there. Best move was, from me, knight takes. What knight takes? Threatens his queen. What? And that was winning. Totally winning. I missed that knight take. I don't think I even considered knight takes, right? Here, knight takes threatens his queen. So knight takes, let's say he takes my queen, right? I take his queen. He takes my knight. I take his knight. What? Oh no! Oh my god! Oh, I take his knight. I take his queen with a discovered check. Oh my goodness! So then he has to play king h8. And then I move back there with check. Oh my god. Oh man. Yeah, totally missed win. Fascinating stuff. Fascinating stuff. I just didn't calculate that enough, did I? So let's go back to that move. What was the move? About 15. Yeah, here. So I played queen d3 in 53 seconds, right? So I had a good think about it, and I missed this. The fact that it counterattacked his queen. So I'm attacking his queen, threatening to capture the queen with the discovery. There you go. Well, maybe on a better day I would have spotted that tactic, but I didn't today. However, no harm, no foul. Ended up in a draw, so all's fair at the end of it. Let's just check the graph again. So I was actually winning as well at this point. What? Now he's in a losing position. What should I have done? What should I have done? King there, and I'm threatening this. Man. Oh dear, right. Yeah, of course, threatening that. And he hasn't got a pawn to take. Well, there we go. Clearly, it's not all working yet, but we'll keep plugging away. King c5 it liked. It's a great move. There's only one good move, but then, missed another one. Anyway, fascinating stuff. The journey continues, everybody. Thanks for watching. See you soon.